It's finally time. Today I'm going to beat Pokémon XD Gale of Darkness using only the cheering Pokémon Plusle Minun as fast as I can. Will the sewer rats finally get their redemption arc in XD, or will their cheering not be enough to propel them to victory? That's what we'll find out today. Challenge rules are on screen now and in the description below. So, we are once again playing with Plusle Minun. Just great. Why do I do this to myself? If you've watched my original video with this tube in Colosseum, you'll know just how terrible these electric rodents are. But if you haven't, let me put you up to speed. Plusle and Minun are essentially the same Pokémon, just with slight stats, abilities and moveset differences. They are both in the medium fast growth rate, which is quite good, but they have a terrible 405 base stat total. Their HP and speed are the same, 60 and 95 respectively, but their attacking and defensive stats differ slightly. Plusle is more geared towards attacking, with 85 special attack and 50 attack, but 75 special defense and a meager 40 defense. Minun is more defensive, with an extra 10 points in defensive stats, but 10 fewer points in attacking stats. But it's not like this difference makes it any good defensively, of course. These stats would make these two very bad in singles. However, when talking about them in the context of a game where almost every battle is a double battle, we must talk about their signature abilities, Plus and Minus. Despite the different names, they basically do the same thing. When Plusle and Minun are together on the field, both get a massive increase of 50% to their special attack stat, essentially equivalent to a +1 stat boost right at the start of the battle. All this combined means that Plusle and Minun are the definition of glass cannons. They have a ridiculously high special attack after their abilities come into effect, and a fantastic speed stat that's enough to outspeed almost everything in the game. However, with such low defenses, they are incapable of taking many hits at all, especially from those super effective ground type moves. Remember Earthquake? Yeah. Playing with Plusle and Minun is essentially a game of whether they can one-hit KO the opponent or they are one-hit KO themselves. So far, Plusle and Minun don't sound all that terrible in doubles, right? I mean, their stats are boosted, their speed is pretty good. Well, here's where the problem truly begins. Their move pool is both shallow and awful. They basically only learn electric and normal type damaging moves, with most of the rest being support moves like Charm, Encore and Helping Hand. Their TM moveset is equally dire, with the only notable move in XD being Thunderbolt, which we didn't have access to in Colosseum. In fact, they don't learn a single special damaging move that's not electric type in Gen 3. So if they are facing an opponent that resists or is immune to electric moves, they are screwed. Keep this fact in mind for later. Fortunately for us, XD is a much nicer game than Colosseum. For once, there's a move tutor in XD I can use, and under my current rules, I can pick a starting egg or emerald tutor move for them. These tutor moves open up a ton of possibilities that we didn't have access to in Colosseum. But because Game Freak was hell-bent on making these two as terrible as possible, they cannot learn Fire or Ice Punch by tutor, only Thunder Punch. But I sure will use that one as my two starting tutor moves, because it's incredible for the start of the game, with 113 base power after stab. Speaking of the XD tutor, she's in Agate Village, and the two moves I need from her are thankfully already unlocked from the start. I teach Mimic to Plusle and Seismic Toss to Minun, replacing Quick Attack in both. The latter should be self-explanatory. It's a move designed to let us bypass our critical offensive hole to those dual ground and rock types, before we get hidden power. As for Mimic, it's a secret weapon that will help us later. However, it's immediately following this teaching Bonanza down in the Relic Cave, where I realize I made a critical mistake in replacing Quick Attack. Cool Trainer 𝗏𝗏 has a Numel, and we don't have any moves to hit it with, other than Seismic Toss and Tackle after I copied it with Mimic. Surely this won't be a problem later, right? Anyway, after purifying 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, this time with its art gauge modified so it would be purified quicker, and defeating the 3 Mount Battle trainers, we make our way to Cipher's lab to rescue Professor Crane. Outside we face Blue 6 for obvious reasons and then make our way downstairs. We have to defeat Nexus Swinub with Seismic Toss, but that goes alright. But immediately after we have Cypherpeon Solox, who has a Shadow Numel. Are you getting deja vu now? Well, unlike the previous Numel we faced, this one is a Shadow Pokémon using only Shadow moves, which means we cannot use Mimic on any of its moves, and our 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 are a 4-hit KO. Numel decided to target Minun exclusively, so obviously it got defeated, and Plusle alone literally could not damage Numel. So this is our first and very stupid reset. Obviously the solution here was to not replace Quick Attack, but I could also have mimicked Minun's own 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀 or any of the opponent's moves beforehand, which is exactly what I did, mimicking Voltorb's Sonic Boom. Unfortunately, the last time we saved was back before Blue 6, so I had to defeat all trainers until this one again, losing about 5 minutes. During the lab section I had a bit of fun using Mimic, but it never actually became relevant in any battle. With the lab cleared and Professor Crane in our ranks, it's time to face the first Cipher admin of the game, Lovrina. There's really not much to say about this battle. Her Love Disc and Beautifly are weak to electric moves, and despite 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃's bulk and Roselia's resistant to our electric punches, we were never in any danger. Our time at Lovrina is 37 minutes. After Lovrina, we make our way to ONBS to decipher the data ROM, then do the Poké Spot exploration, and finally face off against Wanderer 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗁𝗍. And like with Celebi and Jirachi, this time is relevant, because in this battle he has a Shadow Voltorb, which holds the Magnet, an item that's completely absent in Colosseum by the way. We just dealt a bit of damage to it using 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, then paralyzed it with Thunder Wave. Yes, that's possible in Gen 3 for an easy snag. Compared to the Cipher Lab, the ONBS invasion section was a breeze. If you paid attention to the introduction of this video, you'll probably have realized that these two are absolute beasts when not facing ground types. Against the buff Cipher Peon commander at the top, 𝗥𝗂𝗹𝗲𝗀, we got into a bit of a hairy situation when his Raichu decided to start using Dig, but fortunately Minun survived and we cleared him without a single KO. After a brief stop at 𝗏𝗏𝗃, where things are sounding a bit off, we get hurried to Realgam Tower. Here we can finally buy our most important TM, Hidden Power. As with Colosseum, the type choice was fairly obvious. Ice coverage against ground types, and together with our electric moves, we get basic neutral damage against every Pokemon out there. I immediately teach it to Plusle, since it's the one with the highest special attack stat. I also bought a couple of Protect TMs just in case they became useful. Back at 𝗏𝗏𝗃, we discover that Cipher has invaded the city and replaced every resident, so we gotta fight our way to save everyone. None of these Cipher peons pose any threat to us, and we even managed to snag the Shadow Swinub from Greg in front of the 𝗏𝗏𝗃 Stadium for its Never Melt Ice. Inside we have a couple more Cipher peons to clear, until we can face off against the second Cipher admin, Snattle. He starts with 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 and Lantern, two terrible matchups for us. I knew Lantern had Lightning Rods, so I targeted it with our two Thunder Punches for the knockout. 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 took the chance to use Rock Tomb, lowering our speed. Replacing Lantern was his ace, Lunatone. On turn 2, I targeted it with Minun's Thunder Punch, while Plusle used HP Ice on 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃, dealing over half to both. The Meteorite set up its customary Shadow Sky, and 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 used Rock Tomb on Minun again, further lowering our speed and putting it under half. Things aren't looking great, but on the next turn I KO both 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 and Lunatone, but not before it used Shadow Wave, putting Minun almost in the red. Out came his last two Pokemon, Metang and Castform. I targeted the Ironclaw Pokemon with both our punches, but Castform was obviously faster than Minun at this point, destroying us with a Weather Ball. Remember, under Shadow Sky, Weather Ball becomes a typeless 100 base power move. Plusle was left all alone, but it wasn't strong enough to handle another Weather Ball and it fainted, giving us our second reset. This battle proved well how Plusle and Minun falter when they cannot one-hit KO opponents. There wasn't much strategy to discuss going into the second attempt. This time the objective was to not get my speed destroyed by 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃, so I targeted it right on turn 1 and let Lantern live, since its best move against us, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, doesn't deal that much damage. After defeating 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃, I targeted the incoming Lunatone with 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, inexplicably, but it didn't end up mattering since Plusle's Thunder Punch on the next turn KO'd it. Lantern went much the same way, falling to Minun's Punch. Out came Metang and Castform, but without Shadow Sky on the field and with Minun's speed intact, they couldn't do much to us, falling to a quick succession of Thunder Punches. Our time at Snattle was 1 hour and 7 minutes. On the Stadium, we grabbed the PP up and the Ice Beam TM to sell. We are now entering the mid-game slow story section. We crush Robogroudon, grab the leftovers and the 2 PP ups on the SS Libra, get our Snag Machine stolen by Team Snagem, face off against Zook in front of the Cipher Killer, and then 𝗵𝗂𝗶 in the outskirts stand, again without any issues. Grab the Shadow Togepi from Hurdle and finally make our way to the Snagem hideout. At this point in the game we are getting quite a bit overleveled, so nothing in the Snagem hideout stood in our way, including everyone's favorite trainer Biden. I also ignored the rare candy here, figuring I wouldn't really need it. But before we can reclaim our snag machine, we must face off Team Snagem's boss, Gonzap. We start this battle after 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗋𝗀𝗀, so we are a little bit bruised. He started out with Electrode and Nuzleaf, which decided to use Sonic Boom and Fake Out on Plusle, leaving it with half HP. Meanwhile, Minun's Thunder Punch deals about half to Electrode, who paralyzes it with Static. Not a great start. On turn 2, the fast Electrode Sonic Boom puts Plusle at the 4th HP, while the rat's hidden power defeats the wily Pokémon, which is replaced by Vileplume. Minun's Thunder Punch fortunately KO'd Electrode, who was replaced by 𝗟𝗂𝗋𝗃𝗀𝗃, a really annoying opponent for us. Unsure what to do, I targeted it with Charm, while Plusle defeated the flower Pokémon we didn't Power Ice, being replaced by his ace, this time a not Shadow 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃. Because Minun was paralyzed, the Whiskers Pokémon moved first and used Hyper Beam on it. But somehow Minun survived. In fact, it only took out around half our HP. I have no idea how this was possible. Anyway, unfortunately our paralysis prevented us from moving on that turn. Not that it would have mattered because 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 used its own Hyper Beam, destroying Plusle in the process. I would have tried to keep the battle going, but I forgot 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 in my party. Oh no, obviously I had to reset. Just a quick side note, I really should remember that Gonzap loves to use Hyper Beam, and I really should remember to take out 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 from our party. I keep doing these mistakes. Anyway, live and learn, I guess. After depositing 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 in Finac, I took the chance to buy 2 calcium, one for each of our sewer rats. I had to defeat Bidem and 𝗥𝘂𝗋𝗃 again because I forgot to save, losing quite a bit of time, but eventually we were back at Gonzap. He opens the same way as before, but this time flinching Minun with Fake Out instead of Plusle, so we defeated Nuzleaf easily. Before the battle I switched the items around, giving Minun the leftovers, so we immediately recovered some health. On turn 2 we targeted Vileplume with Hidden Power and Electrode with Thunder Punch, who fortunately missed with its Sonic Boom this time. But we still got paralyzed due to Static. Oh dear. On the next turn I targeted Electrode with Plusle's own Thunder Punch, which, although enough for the KO, also ended up leaving us paralyzed. What an annoying ball this Electrode turned out to be. It soon got replaced by 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, while 𝗟𝗂𝗋𝗃𝗀𝗃's Hyper Beam fortunately missed. But Minun still didn't move this turn due to paralysis. On turn 4, Minun miraculously survived another Hyper Beam from both 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 and 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 with only 4 HP, answering with a powerful Thunder Punch to one-hit KO the 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝗱𝗏 Pokémon. There was nothing the recharging 𝗟𝗂𝗋𝗃 could do now, and 2 hidden power was enough for the fat fish. Gonzap was defeated at 1 hour and 36 minutes. At the start I did say Minun's defenses were paper thin, but this battle kinda proved that it can handle some hits, like it could tank 2 Hyper Beams pretty well. Kinda surprised. After Gonzap we headed straight for the Shadow Pokémon factory, the Cipher key lair. Here, instead of going straight up the complex, I take a detour downstairs to bait the 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, who's guarding a big moveset upgrade for us, TM24 Thunderbolt. Obviously I teach it to Plusle, replacing Thunder Punch, and give it our 3 PP ups we collected so far. We face absolutely no problems on the climb up this factory, which is not a surprise considering we are now 7 levels above everyone else. There is however one trainer that might prove to be an issue. If you've watched the 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 and 𝗔𝗏𝗃 XD video, you might remember I talked about 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 Snagem and his annoying Shedinja. Yes, Plusle and Minun are usually completely stalled by this thing because they cannot learn a single super effective move against it, other than Hidden Power, which he obviously decided to dedicate to the Ice type. So then, I hear you ask, how are we going to defeat this guy? Are we completely walled here? Well, not quite. Remember our secret weapon from way back at the beginning of the video? Exactly, we are going to be using Mimic. All I need to do is wait until Shedinja or one of its teammates decides to use a super effective move on us. It's a long and annoying process, where I charmed the cicada until it could no longer deal much with its attacks. Eventually it finally used Aerial Ace, which he mimicked and used against it for the knockout. If you're wondering if there are any other ways we could have gone past this Shedinja, well yes, there are. Leave a comment down below with your solutions. Remember, Hidden Power doesn't count, and pay attention to the TMs we can actually get at this point in the game. I'll explain what these strategies are in the outro. Anyway, let's ignore the hypotheticals and focus on the game ahead of us. Against Cipher R&D 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, we once again get a bit of a difficult situation, where Minun got poisoned and almost got down to the red, but we managed to survive. After blowing up the factory and defeating Smarton, we come face to face with the third Cipher admin, Gorigan. I was quite afraid of Gorigan because of his affinity for earthquake strategies, much like our arch nemesis back in Colosseum. However, the situation here is much different, because we actually have more than electric and normal moves this time. He opens with Lairon and Cilio. I knew Lairon was going to protect, so I electrocuted Cilio and its replacement Slowking with Thunderbolt and Thunder Punch. Out came Ursaring, and now I take the chance to revive the same strategy we used for Dakim. And a perfect strategy for these two cheering Pokémon. Using Anchor on Lairon, we can keep it using Protect and failing over and over again, while we deal with the rest of his Pokémon. Ursaring falls, but on the next turn, for some reason, I targeted the protecting Lairon with Thunderbolt, losing time, and our Thunder Punch didn't defeat Primeape, who answered with a strong Shadow Rush, decimating half of Plusle's HP. On the next turn I defeated both Lairon and Primeape, and the Shadow Hypno the next turn. Our time at Gorigan was 1 hour and 55 minutes. On the way back from the Cipher Key Lair I grabbed a rare candy, then make another stop over at Finneck to give them some vitamins. But at this point in the game they are useless, so we wasted some more time here. I ended up buying hyper potions just in case, and then make my way to Citadel Isle, Cipher's fortress. Just like with Celebi and Jirachi, Citadel proved to be a cakewalk as well because of how over-leveled we are. We crushed Lovrina, ignored the 3 rare candies on the spiral path and most of the other items, and on the top of the island we face off against Snattle again. His battle was actually a bit problematic because Plusle got hit by a massive mud shot from 𝗥𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗀𝗀, almost defeating us, but we endured and managed to defeat him on the first go. With the clock ticking over 2 hours and 21 minutes, it's time to face off against Greevil's Blue Sun and the 4th Cipher admin 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗻. He opens with Alakazam and his Shadow Swallow, which we easily dispatch with Thunderbolt and Thunder Punch respectively. They are replaced by Heracross and Kingdra. On turn 2 I misclicked, double targeting Kingdra with both Thunder Punch and Thunderbolt. It survived the punch with the bolt dealing the KO, but that was a wasted move. It was replaced by the Shadow 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗱𝗏, with this mistake leaving us wide open to Heracross's Rock Tomb, but fortunately it missed. On the next turn I used Thunder Punch on Heracross, barely missing the KO. Yeah, this thing is surprisingly bulky. While HP Ice dealt about half to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏. It answered back with Shadow Half, a move that halves the HP of every Pokémon on the field, leaving us in a weak position. This time, Heracross's Rock Tomb didn't miss and in fact crit on Minun, leaving us with only 17 HP. On the next turn I was able to KO both my opponents, but out came 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏's ace, Snorlax. I knew Snorlax was extremely bulky in the special department, easily tanking a Thunderbolt from Plusle. I used Charm on it in vain, but it wasn't enough, and its Shadow End didn't miss and destroyed Minun. Plusle was able to avenge his partner, but that's our first single KO of the run for Minun. We defeat Gorigan, the 3rd Cipher admin, without any issues. Against Eldest, a Minun almost got KO'd after getting hit by Ninja's Dig and Salamence's Shadow Rush. Our time at the Red Sun is 2 hours and 27 minutes. We are still doing incredible time in this run, but can we beat the game before 2 hours and 30 minutes? To do that, we need to defeat Greevil and his 7 Shadow Pokémon, including 4 legendaries. Oh boy. The first one is obviously XD001, the unpurifiable Shadow Lugia. Obviously, the oversized chicken didn't stand a chance against our double whammy of Thunder Punch and Thunderbolt. Now, with the box legendary out of the way, it's time for the final boss of the game, Cipher's Grandmaster, Greevil. He starts with Raiden and Moltres. Both are a 1-hit KO with Hidden Power Ice and Thunder Punch respectively, being then replaced by Tauros and Exeggutor. The deformed Palm Tree falls to Hidden Power Ice, being replaced by Articuno, while the Bull Pokémon barely survives Minun's Thunder Punch, taking the chance to activate Shadow Sky. On turn 3 we KO Articuno and Tauros with Thunderbolt and Thunder Punch, and out comes his final Pokémon, Zapdos, who falls to a combination of Thunder Punch and Hidden Power Ice. And with that extremely easy battle, we cleared Pokémon XD Gale of Darkness using only Plusle and Minun in 2 hours, 29 minutes and 30 seconds, with 3 resets and a single KO for Minun. The game time is 6 hours and 51 minutes. Here's a table with the splits and the metrics if you're interested. It's now time for the post-mortem! I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but this was truly an incredible run. Turns out that Plusle and Minun aren't actually that terrible if they have access to good moves and hidden power before their biggest nemesis, the Earthquake users. They are glass cannons in the truest sense of the word, and given the opportunity, they can stomp everything in the game. Obviously, the fact that all enemy Pokémon have 0 IVs and 0 EVs gives them a significant edge as well. Another factor that I hadn't considered until playing this run is how much defeating the Shadow Pokémon instead of snagging them skews the balance of the game. There are 69 mandatory Shadow Pokémon in the game before Greevil. I'm excluding his 7 Shadow Pokémon, the 5 non-mandatory Shadows from the Hexagon Brothers, since we only need to battle one of them, and the 2 optional Shadows, 𝗟𝗵𝗲𝗃 and 𝗵𝗄𝗃 in Gation Port. The XP we get from defeating these Shadows, as opposed to snagging, which in this gen did not give any XP, slowly accumulates over the course of the game, and we arrive at 𝗟𝗏𝗃 with an extra 11,600 XP and get to Greevil with a whopping 31,000 extra XP. For Plusle Minun, in the medium fast growth rate, this gives them an extra 3 levels when arriving at 𝗟𝗏𝗃 and an extra 4 when facing Greevil. This is quite a significant level increase, which further makes them much stronger than they would otherwise be. After taking out all the mistakes I made, including the 2 costly resets, I can see them doing under 2 hours and 10 minutes. After everything was said and done, the sewer rats managed to redeem themselves, and in the end, they are actually good. Pretty good. Wait, where's this music coming from? That's right, we still have to face off against 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃, the secret final boss of the game, at the top of the Gation Lighthouse. Let the music play. Even before my first battle against him, I knew I had to teach Thunder to the sewer rats, a callback to their strategy in Colosseum. And even then, this didn't go well. 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃's 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀 are a whopping 4 level above us. Their Hydro Pumps obliterate 3/4 of our HP, and our Thunders miss the 1-hit KO by a tiny amount. I tried the battle a couple more times with this strategy, but it was clear that we were just taking way too much damage, and we couldn't outdamage them either. My next strategy was to use Thunder Wave, which you can relearn in the Agate move tutor, to cripple the 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀, and then use Light Screen, which they can learn via TM, to reduce the damage we took from their attacks. We had a bit more success using this strategy, but it was clear we were still taking way too much damage, and without a 1-hit KO, we just couldn't outlast them. The solution was a combination of a boring strategy with copious amounts of cheese, leveling up to 55 over the next damage running threshold to let Thunder do its magic, and also use our favorite Colosseum move, Encore, alongside Protect and Leftovers on Minun and Light Screen on Plusle. With this strategy, we could get the fake out 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 stuck using the move, which always misses past turn 1, while Plusle's Thunders now dealt enough damage to 1-hit every 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀. Because Minun was using Protect every other turn and it took a lot of damage on turn 1, the 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 mostly targeted it, which saved Plusle from getting hit frequently. Slowly but surely, we got rid of the 4 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 with Dragonite coming out at the end. Obviously, Hidden Power Ice deleted it, while the crippled 𝗟𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀 was defeated by its tormented Minun using Thunder. Turns out, in the end, they are still the sewer rats after all. And with that great battle, today's video comes to a close. Thanks for watching it till the end, and if you enjoyed this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you are interested in watching me play these playthroughs live, consider subscribing to Trite Streams, my streaming channel, and make sure to join the Hexagon Club or my Twitter to be notified when I stream or release a new video. On the Hexagon Club, you can also take part in voting on which duo I'm gonna play XD with next. This time around though, I already had my duo picked. XD is feeling a little bit too easy, don't you think? Maybe I should play the game with a couple of Pokemon that are actually really bad. See you next time! Outro time! Today is August 29th. I played this run back in, I think it was in July. It was a while ago now. It was a really fun run. Yeah, Plusle and Minun are not that bad when you have use hidden power and other strategies, and as long as they outspeed the opponent, they can deal a lot of damage. I still have to replay Colosseum with Plusle and Minun because I changed my rules a lot since the original video, and I'm pretty curious to know how fast I can play Colosseum with Plusle and Minun. So at this point, the Sorok and Lunatone video in Colosseum has come out a few days ago, like last week. It was relatively well received, although for some reason it didn't get boosted by the algorithm a lot. Like, it got boosted a little, but with Zangoose Viper and Celebi and Jirachi, those two videos, they got boosted through browser features, which I looked up what that meant, and that basically means like the home page, so that page on YouTube where you scroll and it suggests videos to you. But the Sorok and Lunatone video didn't get shown shown on those browse features. It got shown on the recommendations on like the sidebar when you finish watching a video. And the 𝗟𝗂𝘁𝗲𝗃𝗀 and 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 didn't really get shown on the sidebar. They got shown on the home page, so I don't really know what that means. I think maybe there's like an effect of like the new channel getting boosted by the algorithm or something like that on the homepage, and now the Sorok and Lunatone video got suggested on the sidebar. Also, something interesting that happened was that by sheer coincidence, Scott Stotts, which is another like challenge run player, made a Sorok versus Lunatone video on Emerald on the same week as the Sorok and Lunatone video. By sheer coincidence, I had my video planned out or uploaded like a month in advance or a few weeks in advance. So by sheer coincidence, the videos came out, like my video came first on Friday, and then his video came out on Saturday. Maybe the algorithm kind of picked my video up from his or recommended after people watched the Sorok and Lunatone video. I don't know. That was kind of a funny coincidence. And maybe it boosted a little bit, and that was the sidebar suggestions. I don't know. So the Sorok and Lunatone video did not as well as the other two, but that's fine. It got like 50 views. That's still a lot. At this point in time, I have played and completed the run I hinted at the end of this video, which is 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗁𝗍 and Magikarp, and it was an ordeal. It was really difficult. I really got a feeling for how difficult XD is if you're using like bad Pokemon. I think the game in general is much easier than Colosseum. Like, it's more well balanced, or it's better balanced. Colosseum is not really well balanced at all. The game's actually quite difficult when you can't deal damage, I guess. Well, that's the point of 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗁 and Magic. They are useless. They are very weak. I used some pretty interesting strategies throughout the run, but it was pretty much a luck fest. It took me 6 streams to finish it all, and a lot of grinding. So I'm gonna work on that video next. That comes out, or should come out, in November. I finished writing the 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 and Magmar video, writing the script for it like a few days ago. Yeah, it's a really interesting run. I think I can do better with them later. That's the October video. The Plusle Minun, this video you're watching now, which I'm recording in the past, is gonna be the September video. And yeah, I forgot to write the predictions for this run. That could be really fun. I just completely forgot, but I'm trying to systematize or have like a template for the scripts for the videos, so I don't forget to talk about like the metrics, the splits, all that stuff, and including the predictions. I think it's interesting to see how I feel about going in with certain Pokemon, and then how the actual run goes. So, if you're here for the other strategies, for the other possible strategies for Snagem, they are pretty much struggle, so that's like my initial idea for him. Struggle is kind of silly. I guess you could do both struggle on Plusle Minun or struggle on 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, but like exhausting 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪's PP is gonna take a while. Then there's Swagger. You can learn Swagger on the Agate move tutor as well, on the teacher lady. Most Pokemon can learn Swagger, and actually I used this Swagger strategy on a 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, not the Snattle 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, on the 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗁 and Magikarp run, so I'm gonna talk about that. And then, so that's Mimic and Swagger are like the best strategies, and struggle is kinda last resort. And then there's a Metronome, which Plusle Minun can learn via Egg move. That would imply changing one of the Thunder Punches to Metronome, which is kinda silly, but it's a possible strategy. I guess you just need to be lucky to roll a move that 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 is weak to. So yeah, that's the four strategies against Snagem, and I have to keep in mind him for future runs, because some Pokemon might actually be walled by 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 and have to learn Mimic. So yeah, otherwise I've been well enough on the migraine side of things. I've been getting into like my regular rhythm of migraine, which is like having one every like a couple days, and they are being relatively weak, so I don't really get into much pain or anything. That's probably related to like the Botox treatment I'm doing, which like reduces the the intensity of the migraines and also a little bit of the frequency. So I guess it is working, but it's very, very expensive. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue doing it. But August has been pretty good, has been like pretty normal. I've been pretty much working on the computer almost every day. I've been like watching anime and stuff. I'm also, I finished writing that novel I talked about in the Solrock and Lunatone video. I've been getting a lot of comments on it, like on Discord server I'm at. I think I have like the topic with discussing it as like 4,500 comments, which is like insane. It's like we have been talking a lot, and basically I just suck. I suck at writing. I suck at writing on the genre I chose, among other issues, but yeah, I've been working on that. That's kind of been the thing I've been working on mostly in my free time, or at least most of August was working on that. I've been taking a break to do the 𝗣𝗲𝗄𝗃 and 𝗪𝗏𝗃 run, then doing the scripts, and now recording this and doing like my actual work, my actual PhD work. Anyway, I think I've rambled long enough on this outro. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and next video should be the Magmar and Electabuzz, and then the 𝗪𝗏𝗃 and 𝗪𝗏𝗲 run. Oh, and on December, I'm thinking of doing 2 videos, so let's see if I have time for it. So the first video would be the Colosseum rerun of Plusle Minun, the second run, and then on like the end of the year, or maybe the beginning of the year, I'm thinking of doing a second run compilation, not really a compilation, like explaining what I did in second runs in Colosseum. So like now I have 5 runs completed in Colosseum, or I will have 5 runs including this Plusle Minun run. I'm gonna talk about each of those runs, of those second runs. I haven't played most of them. I only played the Celebi and 𝗪𝗏𝗃 second run. So I'm gonna do like a video explaining what I changed compared to the first playthrough, and then finally rank or make a nice tier list ranking each of the pairs, like make a tier list and ranking them. So something like a little bit different and a little bit fun. So yeah, I've rambled long enough. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next video, which is the Magmar and Electabuzz run. See ya!